Good morning, brethren. Welcome to another daily devotional. This morning I want to take you to Paul's first letter to the church in Thessalonica, chapter 1 and verse 6. This is what he says. He says, "You became imitators of us and of the Lord. In spite of severe suffering, you welcomed the message with the joy given by the Holy Spirit. You became imitators of us and of the Lord." I'm sure that you have over the years watched many different entertainers who have the wonderful ability to impersonate or to imitate others. Back in my younger days, it was a man by the name of Mike Yarwood. I suppose in more recent days, although I might still be going back a bit, it was the likes of Rory Bremner. And it was amazing the way they could not only alter their voice, but even using makeup and all sorts of things, even take on the looks of the person that they were imitating. Mike Yarwood used to be absolutely brilliant at doing Harold Wilson. And there's a story told that at one time, in fact, he phoned up someone pretending he was Harold Wilson and convinced them that he was. It was quite amusing, I believe. But it's wonderful to be able to do that, to imitate someone else. Of course, children do it. They see mummy or daddy doing something and they very soon pick that up and they do it too. Or they see their brother or sister doing something and the next thing they're doing it. I see this with my grandchildren, especially with young Ezra, the baby of the family. He very much likes to imitate his big sisters. Here in 1 Thessalonians, Paul says of the church there, of the Christians in that church, "You became imitators of us." Paul and his companions were wonderful examples. They were living out their Christian faith. They, of course, were following, or they were imitators of Jesus. And in fact, in one of his other letters, Paul says that. He says, "Imitate us as we imitate Christ." And so these Christians in Thessalonica had flesh and blood examples of what it meant to truly live the life of the Christian. They had seen it in these men, Paul and Silas and Timothy and the others who had come among them. And he says, "You imitated us just as we imitated the Lord." And brethren, that is a wonderful thing to be able to do. There are people who you know, people in your congregation, whose life is a living testimony of what a Christian ought to be. They're not perfect, but in certain areas they are wonderful examples. Maybe it's their prayer life. Maybe it's their patience. Maybe it's the way in which they think before they speak. Maybe it's in their giving to the work of the Lord. Maybe it's in their wonderful relationship as husband and wife. Maybe it's in their example of hospitality, having people around to their home. And you look at them and you see in that aspect of their life, or in those aspects of their life as a Christian, things that you know you ought to imitate. They are a wonderful example in this, and you ought to follow them. People who are there at church every single Lord's Day, morning and evening. People who are there at the midweek every week. What an example to follow. Let us take to heart what Paul is saying here. He is commending the Christians in Thessalonica for following the good example that they had seen in Paul and his companions. And what this verse is saying to us today is, look around you. Observe other Christians. See the good things in their life that demonstrate their Christian faith, and you follow them as they are following Christ. You became imitators of us and of the Lord. And who knows, maybe there's some aspect of your life as a Christian, and I hope and trust there is, where you are in actual fact being an example, albeit unbeknown to you. You are being an example to other Christians. Help us, Lord, to be good examples to others. Have a good day, folks.